she's literally Palestinian, chat. She's fucking straight up Palestinian. So you got Peter Beinart, an outspoken critic of Israel, and you got Kat, who's Palestinian, surrounded by 3 old douchebag white Christian dudes who are just like constantly going, but Hamas, but Hamas, but Hamas.
I wonder if you feel like this moment, these images that are coming out about the humanitarian situation is in fact an inflection point.
Why did it take this long? I mean, in November of last year, the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu for the war crime of starvation 8 months ago, before Israel cut off all food, all water, all electricity into the Gaza Strip for 3 months. And to say the United States is silent, it's much, much worse than that. We are profoundly complicit and deeply responsible. It is our weapons that enforce this starvation. It is our diplomatic efforts that prevent international justice from being done. The blood is on our hands as Americans because it is our weapons that is responsible for those children starving to death.
No blood for the hands of Hamas?
Hamas has
is
lots
there no blood
of...
on their hands?
Why don't you let me finish? How about that? Okay?
I'm just asking.
Yes,
you
of
blamed
course,
Israel and you blamed...
They're so fucking smug. I wish, I beg for some karmic justice, man. Please, please, at some point, please, some semblance of justice in the planet. Please.
Sorry,
the US, but we haven't heard Hamas yet.
I actually have one of my closest friends in college was blown up by Hamas. I have probably a lot more experience with suffering from Hamas, with all due respect, than you do. Let's say this. If we want to see who is more to blame for the starvation of children in Gaza, Hamas or Israel, let CNN in. Israel has not allowed Western journalists in since October 7th. Let them go in, let CNN go in and decide for themselves. How about that?
How about Hamas
Can
releases the hostages and
Yeah,
gets a
and let me
ceasefire?
think, what do you think would happen if
Peter,
Hamas
Peter,
released
just give me
the
one
hostages?
second. Scott, let me ask you a question, because Hamas is responsible for October 7th. Hamas is responsible for a lot of terrible things. But the question is, who can alleviate the starvation at this moment in Gaza? And does Israel have a responsibility to do much more than it is doing right now? And what do you say to that?
Well, my view is Hamas started the war. The suffering of the people in Gaza is their direct responsibility of what Hamas has done. Hamas took money for years, and instead of doing
Yeah. You don't understand.
anything for the people
But what
of Gaza,
about
built
Israel's
tunnels
role in
for this siege.
controlling
asked
the
me a question. I
flow?
want to answer it.
But what about Israel's role in controlling the flow of food?
Yeah.
I just want us to set the table here, because I understand that there's a lot of political talking points around this, but this is a conversation about human beings and about the things that they need in order to survive, which is food and water. And the question I have for you is there a moment for you where you sit here and you think, yeah, maybe more can be done? And at what point should the United States government say that?
Well, we are saying that. Number one, Hamas has weaponized aid. They've stolen.
I can't deal with Scott Jennings. Fucking Nazi scumbag. You can be as much of a Nazi as you want, as long as like the person that the group that you're like presenting yourself in opposition to is like vaguely Muslim enough or comprised mostly of Muslims, and you're defending the holy nation state of Israel, the most moral nation on the planet. That's it. You could just be like a straight up Nazi. Because that's what this is. Israel's a Nazi country, and its defenders are fucking Nazis. What is stopping these talking heads from starting their questions without mentioning Hamas? What do you mean? That's the only thing he thinks he can hold on to as a fucking effective counter, and it's actually ineffective at this point. Nobody gives a shit. What do you mean, Hamas? Oh, sorry, we have to keep starving Palestinian babies that people can see because Hamas, I guess. What the fuck? No, like, you have to be invested. You had to have already like developed a position that is so overwhelmingly pro-Israel to even entertain this fucking idiocy.
Stolen it from the United Nations. to resell it to finance their war. Some people think they've made $1 billion stealing and weaponizing this aid. That's not the United States doing. That's Hamas doing. That's number one. Number two, they've made unreasonable demands in these hostage negotiations. We're on the brink of a hostage deal and a ceasefire. They've blown that up today with Israel and now the United States having to.
Come on, Abby. Ask them what? What are the unreasonable demands Hamas has made? A permanent ceasefire? That's the unreasonable demand? Get this piece of shit to spell it out, because that's what it is. Also, God, it's just like the amount of atrocity propaganda you can get away with doing because like Hamas is a fucking Muslim group and Palestinians are not treated like real human beings is so crazy. This is what it is. It's just like you can just say anything. Anything is Hamas. You can say they're stealing aid. They're actually starving the children personally. They're killing the children personally to make Israel look bad. And people will be like, oh, I guess he's right.
Walk away from an unreasonable situation. It is blatantly obvious that Israel and the United States wants the hostages home. They want a ceasefire and they want to feed the people in Gaza. Hamas does not.
Can I just add? The Israeli government's stated position is to support the Trump plan for the full expulsion of all Palestinians from Gaza. And I would remind you, there is no Hamas leadership in the West Bank. How are Palestinians being treated in the West Bank where Hamas is not in control, where there are no Hamas fighters? Palestinians are being expelled from their homes, living under conditions that even Israel's own human rights organizations call apartheid in the West Bank where there is no Hamas. So yes, Hamas does despicable things, but these talking points, with all respect, people don't believe them anymore. People don't believe them anymore.
All they have to do is release the hostages.
I just want to play, hold on a second, Scott. I want to play Cindy McCain.
All they have to do is release the hostages. Brother, number one, Israel's killed more hostages than Hamas has released. Number two, the only and effective way to actually release hostages is through a ceasefire process, and that's the only way hostages have been released in brought in large numbers. Number three, Hamas's quote-unquote unreasonable conditions for the ceasefire is an actual ceasefire, an actual cessation of hostilities, and an aid and humanitarian aid to go in to the Strip. And last but not least, there are no remaining hostages. The people that Hamas has right now are prisoners of war. Okay? There are no more civilians or even like former enemy combatants that turned civilians and were kidnapped or whatever. Like none of that. No, these are all IDF soldiers. Unless you think they were kidnapped from a tank or kidnapped from a military base, they're just fucking soldiers. They're prisoners of war. Ironically enough, Israel has been starving them as well as everyone else on the Strip. We didn't even know what the conditions look like at this point. Are Hamas actually stealing aid, though? From what I know, they care about the Palestinians. No, of course they're not stealing aid, man. What are we talking about? No, there is zero evidence. Nothing. The only quote unquote evidence is it's not even evidence. It's just Israel says so. That's it. And for so many of these platforms is like, that's all it takes. Oh, Israel said so? All right. I guess we got to take it as truth then. On top of everything else, Hamas has actively tried to put together a ceasefire negotiation since October 10th, 2023. They've put forth more than 45 different ceasefire negotiations. And I say 45 and not like 4,500 at this point, because after the 45th time, the conditions that they set forth were damn near identical every single time, okay? Like in some way, shape, or form, for the past 2 years, Hamas has been actively, desperately trying to put together a ceasefire negotiation. Israel has decided to not do that. Israel wants to use the existing hostages as or at least in the beginning, as a reason for why they have to do ethnic cleansing. That's it. There is no real interest from the Israeli side, from the Israeli government side, for a permanent solution, a permanent cessation of hostilities. They just want to do ethnic cleansing. It's not like they're hiding it. They're openly saying it too. It's not like Israel's like sheltering the public from their perspective. They're saying it. What's the statement? Like the first casualty in war is the truth. it just feels so crazy that every single day that I've covered this, like there are still people who come in here and they go, I'm confused, like, why won't Hamas release the hostages or something? It's like, they are trying, man. They've been trying since fucking October 10th.
She's the executive director of the World Food Program, and she talked about what is happening right now in terms of the actual administration of aid and what it could be. And she knows that because she's done it before. Watch.
When we had full access, we had 400 distribution sites. We were getting in 600 trucks a day. So the capability that we have is unmatched by any other organization or any other foundation. And we know where our food goes because we have a system on the ground that is tested and works. We need full sustained access. We need at scale so we can set up the kinds of aid stations that can actually help people and do it where it's not a panic situation.
It's truly shocking to me that Cindy McCain genuinely is like the only good McCain, both alive and dead. And she is so different. She is so on the opposite moral playing field as opposed to the living, breathing Meghan McCain and also the very much dead John McCain. I don't even understand how this can happen. Like, are they related? What do you mean? That's John McCain's wife. I don't understand how you could be married to John McCain and also be the executive director of the World Food Program and have been one of the most morally consistent voices on, one of the most morally clear voices on the, widow, not wife. But like, it doesn't make sense. Opposites attract. Bro, she had to pick from a dude born 80 years ago. She did her best. Nothing makes sense. It's like if Melania was like a socialist, okay? This is like if Melania Trump came out as like a massive advocate for like socialism and was like actively hands-on combating capital owners on the streets or some shit. Because like she's there, you know what I mean? She's in and out of Gaza. She is actively feeding the children of Gaza. It's like if Melania Trump was like a Titoist, you know? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Yeah, Melania is a Yugoslav sleeper cell. Tito is Yugoslavia. She will restore it to its former glory. Just you fucking wait.
Let me just say from the outset, Hamas is responsible for what happened in Gaza. They don't negotiate in good faith. They're a terrorist organization.
Oh, you fucking piece of shit. Stop making me hard. You're hard. That's weird. A helping hand is a helping hand no matter how dirty. Sometimes people just walk the walk, dude. No, I just don't understand how she was with John McCain, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like it's like fucking Ava Braun, like working hands-on in like releasing Jews from concentration camps. You know what I mean? Like that's the weird the weird juxtaposition of like what Cindy McCain is doing versus what John McCain had done and what he advocated for. Anyway, god damn it, dude. Every time I see one of these fucking absolute morons, these assholes, it's just like really ruins my day. First of all, we must say Hamas, 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 Hamas. Guys, have I talked about Hamas? Excellent. Hamas.
Having said that,
oh my God! Someone said, "Welcome to the world of straight women." Oh, that's so funny. That's like that meme. It's like girl who's like saying, "Hey, have you read this latest feminist literature?" And then the boyfriend is right next to her. It's like the most racist man alive T-shirt. That's Cindy McCain and John McCain. That's literally what that meme is. Yeah, Cindy, I can fix him, McCain. A real woke gap relationship. Yeah. Yeah.
Israel needs to be doing far more than they're doing to allow food to come in or to provide it themselves. And I mean, having spent much of the last 3 years in the Muslim world, you ought to see how the U.S. is being portrayed there for standing by and being silent, at least on this. Now, Hamas, they are a terrorist organization. I don't speak for them, but Israel needs to do more, and America needs to do more to force them to allow food.
Bro, these guys talk about Israel like there's a fucking gun pointed right at them off camera, just off camera. Like they're like, oh well, Israel needs to do more, but also Hamas, Hamas.
It's heartbreaking to see what's going on. I served meals in southern Turkey after the earthquake with somebody from World Central Kitchen, who later went to Gaza and was killed by a strike. Wow. They're serving meals there. It's a horrible situation. Anybody who can watch what we just watched and say, no, Israel's doing enough, the U.S. is doing enough, we're not.
Yeah, I mean, she said 400 distribution sites is what they typically would have to feed a population of that size. We're talking about 4 now. And then at those sites, I can show you the headlines. I mean, dozens killed in separate incidents over the course of the last several weeks, just trying to get aid at those sites, creating incredibly dangerous conditions. It just seems, Abel, at this moment, it's not actually asking all that much for there to be more than what is happening right now, because what's happening right now is clearly not even close to being enough.
Abby, to look at the images, obviously it's painful, especially I'm a father. There's a lot of us here who are fathers, to see these kids.
But Hamas. I like that in order to have Peter Beinart and Kat on there, Kat, who is literally, isn't she on this panel too? She's not talking at all, which is crazy. She's literally Palestinian, chat. She's fucking straight up Palestinian. So you got Peter Beinart, an outspoken critic of Israel, and you got Kat, who's Palestinian, surrounded by 3 old douchebag white Christian dudes who are just like constantly going, but Hamas, but Hamas, but Hamas. What the fuck is happening? They cut her out of the YouTube video. It was aired though. She didn't get to say much.
Over the course of the last several weeks, just trying to, it just seems, Abel, at this moment, it's not actually asking all that much for there to be more than what is happening right now, because what's happening right now is clearly not even close to being enough.
Abby, to look at the images, obviously it's painful, especially I'm a father. There's a lot of us here who are fathers, to see these kids. But then Hamas is just, they portray.
He literally did it, by the way. I was joking when I paused it. He just straight up did that. He said, I'm a father, but Hamas. I'm a father, but Hamas. So we got to kill some of these kids, man. Sorry. They just happen to be also Palestinian, just like Hamas is Palestinian. Sorry. It is what it is. Some genocide has to keep going, just a crumb of genocide.
As a political party, they're a syndicate. They're a gang. They are a terrorist organization. I've been to Sderot. I've been to Ashdod, little cities right next to Gaza. I mean, these kids wake up in the morning, there's a kazam coming over their head. They're going into these culverts that they paint them as snails so these kids can play in culverts to protect themselves. This is bad. President Donald J. Trump wants a couple of things. Scott mentioned it. He wants a ceasefire.
Bro, I can't watch this shit, man. They're such fucking animals. They're such demons, bro. They are such fucking animals. They're so disgusting. It's I don't know. It's just I can't do this.